Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and demystify the U.S. passport renewal process. Look, if you've ever stared at a stack of government paperwork and felt your eyes just glaze over, trust me, you are not alone. Today, we're taking the dry, kind of intimidating instructions of Form DS-82 and turning them into a foolproof, step-by-step guide. Whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or just gearing up for that next big trip, we're going to make renewing your passport by mail an absolute breeze. So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with 1. The DS-82 eligibility test. Then, 2. Application types and costs. Next, 3. Assembling your renewal packet. After that, 4. The mailing process. And finally, 5. Processing times and expectations. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Eligibility Test DS-82 Requirements.
Right off the bat, there's a hard line between the two main passport forms. Think of the DS-82 as your golden ticket to renewing by mail right from your couch, but it's exclusively for eligible adults. On the flip side, we have the DS-11. If you need a brand new first-time passport, or honestly, if you just don't meet the renewal criteria we're about to cover, you're going to need that DS-11, which means an in-person appointment and, a bit more legwork. And it turns out the criteria to use the mail-in form are surprisingly strict. If you don't meet every single one of these bullets, no DS-82 for you. First, your previous passport had to be issued when you were 16 or older, so no childhood passports allowed here. Second, it must have been issued less than 15 years ago. Third, you literally have to possess that physical passport to send it in with your application. And finally, the passport can't be significantly damaged. It's got to be in reasonably good shape. If you check all 4 of those boxes, boom, you pass the test.
Moving on to Section 2, Types and Costs. Passport fees. Let's look at the menu for your standard adult renewal options. If you just want the classic passport book for international flights, that'll set you back $130. If you only need the passport card, which by the way is fantastic for land and sea crossings to places like Canada, Mexico, or the Caribbean, that's just $30. Or you can bundle the whole shebang for $160. What's actually super cool here is that if you already have a book but you've never had a card, you can use the DS-82 to get your first ever passport card, assuming you pass that eligibility test, of course. But here is the absolute best hidden win I found: $0. Because you're renewing by mail using the DS-82, you pay literally $0 for an acceptance facility fee. That instantly saves you $35 compared to doing the DS-11 in person. That is an extra $35 you can put straight toward your vacation budget just by filling out the right form. Now, if you're in a rush, you do have the option to pay an additional $60 fee. This bumps you up to expedited processing service. We'll break down the exact timeline and how much time this actually saves you a bit later, but just keep that $60 number in the back of your mind if your departure date is sneaking up on you. All right, Section 3, Renewal Packet. Assembling docs. Let's walk through a super simple example with an applicant named Sarah. So Sarah has an adult passport that was issued 8 years ago. She's fully eligible, right? She just follows these exact steps. Step 1, she fills out the DS-82 using the official State Department form filler online. Step 2, she prints it, signs it, and dates it. Step 3, she gets a compliant passport photo. And Step 4, she grabs her current, intact passport to toss in the envelope. It really is that straightforward, as long as you don't fall for a few common traps. The State Department highly recommends using their online form filler on a computer because it spits out a really clear scannable barcode. But pay attention, because here's a major trapdoor. You absolutely must print single-sided. If you try to be eco-friendly and print double-sided to save paper, your application is going to get rejected and mailed right back to you. The machines at the intake facility literally cannot process double-sided forms.
And here's another quirk. Unlike the DS-11, where they strictly tell you to wait and sign the document in front of a government agent, the DS-82 demands the exact opposite. You have to sign and date this document before you seal the envelope. If you send in an unsigned DS-82, well, everything just grinds to a total halt.
Honestly, I absolutely love this next one. It's one of those highly specific, quirky government rules that you just have to respect. When you go to attach your one passport photo, the State Department explicitly instructs you to staple it to the application using exactly 4 staples, placed vertically right near the corners without bending the photograph. No tape, no paper clips. And whatever you do, don't staple it right through your forehead. 4 vertical corner staples. Follow this to the letter, or you can definitely expect delays.
Okay, Section 4, Mailing Process, Sending Your Packet. Before you lick that envelope shut, let's do a quick final roll call. You need your completed, single-sided, signed DS-82. You need your photo attached with exactly 4 staples. You need your actual, physical, most recent passport in there. You need your payment, which, by the way, has to be a personal check or a money order made out to the U.S. Department of State. No cash, no credit cards in the mail. And lastly, if your name has legally changed since your last passport, maybe from a marriage or a court order, you've got to include that certified name change document too.
Once the envelope is sealed, hold on a second before you drop it off because there's a huge catch here. Do not take this to UPS, FedEx, or DHL. You absolutely must use the United States Postal Service. Why? Well, because the required mailing addresses for the DS-82 are strictly P.O. boxes. Private couriers simply cannot deliver to government P.O. boxes. So make sure you use a trackable USPS delivery method so you can keep an eye on its journey.
So what happens if you don't follow these instructions? The intake facility is definitely going to spot it. If they catch a missing signature, a bad photo, like maybe you were wearing glasses, which is a massive no-no, an incorrect check amount, or if you just plain forgot to put your old passport in the envelope, they're going to send you a resubmission letter. And that totally pauses your processing time. If this happens, don't panic. Just make sure you follow their new instructions flawlessly and always include that exact resubmission letter when you mail your corrected materials back.
Finally, Section 5, Processing Times, What to Expect.
Understanding this timeline is absolutely vital for your travel planning. Notice how it's actually broken down into 3 distinct phases. First, the mailing to the facility part can take up to 2 weeks. Then, the actual processing kicks in. Routine processing right now takes about 4 to 6 weeks. If you pay that extra $60 we talked about, expedited processing takes 2 to 3 weeks. After they finish up, mailing your brand new passport back to you can take another 2 weeks. The big takeaway here is that you have to factor in the mailing time on both ends. A 4 to 6 week routine process, that can realistically mean you're waiting up to 10 weeks from the day you mail it to the day it shows up in your mailbox.
Oh, and here's a pro tip to save you from a moment of sheer panic. When you finally get that beautiful new passport in the mail, you're going to rip open the envelope and probably realize your old passport and your precious original marriage certificate aren't in there. Take a deep breath. The State Department always returns your old passport and supporting documents in a completely separate mailing. It might show up a few days before or a few days after your new passport.
By sticking to this structured approach, skipping the double-sided printing, getting your 4 staples exactly right, and strictly using the USPS, you've completely conquered the DS-82. Now that you've mastered this foolproof journey and navigated the government bureaucracy, a brand new passport is officially heading your way. And you know, that new passport unlocks the entire world for use in the next 10 years. So I'll leave you with this final, exciting thought. Now that all the paperwork is totally out of the way, where's your first stop going to be?